Wilson characterizes the public record as overwhelming evidence that Robinson committed the killing, but reportedly puts his own confidence at approximately 75 to 85% when pressed. So let's pull this up on screen. I thought this was actually one of the worst mistakes that Andrew Wilson made all night.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
Okay, well, I got a spoiler alert for each of you. Both of them are being ridiculous in that moment. First things first. Did Wilson establish that the evidence against Robinson is overwhelming? Well, overwhelming evidence is not a formal legal burden. Okay, when he says overwhelming evidence, that's not really a legal thing. And we know how Andrew Wilson likes positive evidence and negative evidence. When I get overwhelming evidence, it's just these arbitrary standards he comes up with. Oh, you want to cite circumstantial evidence? Well, how about I call that negative evidence? Oh, but when I cite circumstantial evidence, that's positive evidence. Come on. Oh, and then when all my circumstantial evidence points in one direction, well, that's overwhelming evidence based on the circumstantial evidence. But you can't use that, Candace. It's unfair. You're confined to direct evidence, not circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence, positive evidence, negative evidence, circumstantial evidence. But nobody wants to say they're endorsing negative evidence. So you say direct and circumstantial. And circumstantial is still a form of evidence. Don't think of it as negative. It's just a term to distract you. But overwhelming evidence is not a formal legal burden. A preliminary criminal hearing concerns probable cause. Conviction requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Conviction would occur at trial. An advocate should use overwhelming consistently with the level of confidence the evidence actually supports. So, do we have a substantial public case? Yes. The reported record includes alleged admissions, surveillance and vehicle footage, witness evidence, a recovered weapon, and forensic evidence. Those are all the things that Andrew Wilson cited, which, I mean, guys, look, admission, surveillance and vehicle footage, witness evidence, recovered weapon, forensic evidence. You're painting a really good picture, right? Some of that's, direct evidence, some of it's circumstantial evidence, but combined, that evidentiary picture starts pointing in one direction, that the accused did the crime. And so I think there's a lot of evidence to show that based on that has been admitted, at the criminal preliminary examination and was considered and that what the public knows. Was there support for probable cause? Yes, that aggregate may support bindover even where individual items are disputed. So when it comes to all those admissions, surveillance and vehicle footage, witness evidence, recovered weapon, forensic evidence, look, Tyler Robinson can still dispute that, but it's still sufficient evidence to present at the criminal preliminary examination for bindover. If Tyler Robinson can still dispute that even at trial. So his trial or his criminal rights aren't exactly eliminated just because, you include, certain pieces of evidence like they did at trial. So just want you to know that. Also, personal confidence. Let's talk about that. Wilson expressed roughly 75 to 85% certainty. Even though, does that fit with his rhetoric? He said overwhelmingly, overwhelmingly ordinarily communicates confidence materially stronger than an express 15 to 25% uncertainty. So think about it. Whenever you say, I have overwhelming certainty, and then you say, well, I'm actually only 75% certain, 85%. That doesn't fit each other. That doesn't make sense. I don't quantify overwhelming as 75 to 85%. So Wilson can fairly call the public case substantial or say it supports probable cause. His stated confidence materially weakens the stronger assertion that the evidence is overwhelming. And just an extra note on this. So I want you to think about it like this. Whenever we think about standards at trial and, evidentiary burdens. So remember this. For a civil trial, it's preponderance of the evidence, meaning that the alleged evidence indicates that the fact that occurred was more than 50% likely. So if I can present sufficient evidence to show that the likelihood of a fact occurring more than 50%, that meets a preponderance of the evidence standard. There's also a clear and convincing standard, which I've always understood is actually more around the 75%, 85%. So that's actually more of a clear and convincing. Whenever we're dealing with guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, that's more like 99%, guys. That's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You're 99% sure this is the guy, okay? And when you say overwhelming evidence and you're beating your chest and this is so easy, case closed, and then you turn around and say 75%, that doesn't even meet the standard for guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, which is more like 99% sure he did it. And I'm going to tell you guys, even based on the evidence I saw, alleged admission, surveillance and vehicle footage, witness evidence, recovered weapon, forensic evidence, and the lack of other identifiable defendants, I mean, you can't use that last part as an evidentiary basis, but the previous ones you can. And all that is going to tend to show itself, I think, that we got a 99% case working here. But you're innocent until proven guilty, and that is your constitutional right.